the bear down and chase him back home. Over the night, wildlife officers lost track of the bear's exact location. These dogs and its owner were able to help find the beast.
And they just all got into his face and started running him and tired him out, and we kind of run him all through all these orchards and people's backyards, and finally got him up into the sagebrush up there. And he's back to where he belongs. Hopefully he'll stay there.
Now that the mission's accomplished, family and dogs will return to their home in Tampico. But it was a long night. Now Dana Cowley shows us what the struggle to find the bear was like last night.
This is the first bear down here that I've been aware of.
The bear hunt came to a halt when the bear found some brush to take a breather. Game agents used the break to load their guns with tranquilizer darts.
If we can tranquilize it and get in a cover trap, then we'll take it up in the hills and release him. That's the ideal situation.
Adrenaline was running high as officers moved in to flush the bear from the brush. After all, no one here had ever tranquilized a bear in town before.
If we can get him going and get him across Summit View Extension, it's not very far up to Cowichee Ridge, and then he's at least away from the residences and stock and all, but then we've got an elk fence on too.
979-677, you're going to have to keep going west. He's going to be beyond. There's an electric fence that he's going to come to there at the irrigated pasture.
They flushed him from the brush all right, and when he came out, the sight of that massive lumbering beast left everyone momentarily speechless.
He's probably going to come north. Keep going west.
One neighbor in this van had one of the closest encounters with the bear, but it quickly moved on, frightened by all the people and the strange sounds. As the bear fled, he hardly seemed harmful to humans.
And actually it's worse for the bear because they get pursued by domestic dogs, chased and harassed. People get excited. They think their livestock is in danger, although it really isn't.
Let me get past you, 1005. If you keep going west, they'll have to come right down to you. Keep going.
It became a much more physical exercise once nobody could get a clear shot with the tranquilizer gun and the bear escaped into a nearby orchard. Officers chased the bear for about a mile, then they surrounded him in an orchard and moved in to finally shoot him with the tranquilizer gun.
Just be real careful. There he is. Stay back.
But once again, he got away. You see, it takes 2 minutes for those tranquilizer darts to take effect, and a frightened bear can run a long way in 2 minutes.
He is westbound, paralleling Barrett, approximately 200 yards into this orchard off of Mize.
I'm Dana Cowley for the Weekend Report.
Search and rescue volunteers and amateur radio operators are putting together a project this weekend that could save lives. About 75 volunteers are putting up a tower and transmitter that could clear the way for radio communications in the Chinook Pass area. The transmitter is located on Quartz Mountain just west of Cleelum. Time, money, and materials were all donated. Volunteers have been working on making the tower for a couple of weeks. Now, planes that go down or people lost in the woods will have a better chance of surviving.
If it's a need for people on foot, people locating downed aircraft, it'll be a system that can just possibly save 4 to 5 hours in just grouping our searchers together and getting them in the field and then going about our business.
The whole building will be completed by tomorrow. Crews are there right now testing out the transmitter. A two-car head-on collision in the lower Yakima Valley today sent 2 people to the hospital. The accident took place here on Branch Road near Brownstown and Harrah. The accident completely blocked off traffic to cars in both directions. Firefighters had to remove one driver out of his car with the jaws of life. Both drivers appeared to be conscious when they were put into the ambulance. Right now, details on that accident are sketchy, and we'll have more for you tonight at 11. Emergency medical personnel showed us today how the jaws of life actually work. The group is holding its annual convention in Yakima. Here, firefighters are ripping a door off a junkyard car for demonstration purposes. Now, how much pressure does it take to remove a door from its hinges? 10,000 pounds of pressure and a lot of patience.
The door was jammed in a wreck and you couldn't open it. We can pop the doors. We could actually cut the top off of the car. If the steering wheel was jammed into a person, we can actually pull the steering wheel away from them. There's different demonstrations like that and how we'd get a person out.
The firefighters will rip apart the entire car, roof, doors, everything before they're through with the demonstration. Freewheelers took a lesson in safety today at the Atanum Youth Park in Union Gap. The County Sheriff's Department offers this program to cut down on all-terrain vehicle accidents. Deputies say since the program started, ATV accidents are way down.
Very good. Good job, Lyle.
On an ATV, when you're out riding on a trail or a backcountry road somewhere, there's no signals or signs to tell you what to do. And the handling of these machines is a lot different than like riding a bicycle or a motorcycle or driving a car. There are specific things that you need to know what to do and what not to do on these machines, or you can get injured severely.
People that aren't trained in riding are causing some of the problems, and we hope by taking this course, maybe we can help other people ride better.
If you'd like to try your hand at riding an ATV, or if you want to just brush up on safety, call the Yakima Sheriff's Department. 4 Eastern Washington schools are in trouble with the state. The State Board of Education says higher education programs at these schools are not meeting state standards. Walla Walla College is one of them. They received a disapproval rating for its school counselor education program. The state failed Central Washington University for its school counselor and its teaching program. Eastern Washington University didn't make the grade with its school counselor, its school nurse, and communication disorder specialist programs, and Gonzaga University received a disapproval rating for its school counselor program. The schools must now show the state they have changed to meet standards for those programs, and until then, they cannot let any other students into those programs. Well, have you ever dreamed of quitting your job to go for the glory and the fame of professional sports? Today, that's what a group of guys are doing in Pasco. That's where tryouts are being held for the Tri-Cities' newest professional sports team, the Tri-Cities Chinook basketball team. Tom Brock tells their story.
With guys like these hustling all over the hardwood,
Keep your head up, baby.
It makes Tri-Cities head coach Steve Hayes' job that much more difficult.
We like to see some screens, some pick and rolls, those type of things once you get down under the end set up.
19 players turned out for today's rookie free agent camp, but it's likely only 1 or 2 will make the team.
You okay, Rod?
Some of these guys say it doesn't make a bit of difference if they make the team or not. They say what does count is that they came out, they gave it their all, and they gave their best shot at trying to make a professional basketball team.
Most of those fighting for a place on the roster have plenty of college experience, like 6'8", 228-pound Eric Dunn out of the University of Oregon. But others, like Eric Briggs, an engineer on the Hanford Reservation, well, these are the guys that just want a chance to try.
It's part of my dream to play ball, you know, but simultaneously, I completed a degree in engineering, so I had to take care of my future and keep my dreams alive. I come out, I do my work the best I can, and let the coaches decide that.
Others think they've got a pretty good chance. Take 6'10", 225-pound John Morehouse. He played last year in a European league. He traveled all the way from Connecticut for a shot at becoming a Chinook.
If it doesn't work out here, there's a tryout with Albany in 2 weeks. Are you guys making it, taking it? Okay.
But most are Northwest products who think they can make it as a pro.
I was really surprised about the range and the quality of players out here. I didn't think it'd be, I thought it was kind of a gathering of people around the team, but we got some really good players out here.
With only 2 spots open on the team and 19 players who want them, it's likely some unhappy faces will be found at the end of camp tomorrow night. But that doesn't take anything away from the determination of those who dared to go after a dream.
A whole lot the bullfighters could.
Usually. I guess because it tastes good. I don't know. I've never had one, so I guess I'm going to try one.
For your first one then.
Uh-huh.
But there's more than food. Games for kids, movies, bingo, and a beer garden all help to raise money for the Christ the King School.
Oh, I think you got it! Yeah, I just love Dutch Jam.
Last night, a big crowd kicked off the event despite some gusty winds, and the festival says People there hope for an even larger turnout tonight. Well, turnout was very good for a couple of other Central Washington festivals today. In Toppenish, the Chamber of Commerce's Crazy Days celebration drew in locals. Yakima River Jazz Band kicked off the fun. There was plenty to do and plenty to eat. 3 murals were dedicated to Toppenish. The latest one painted is called At the Peak of Harvest, a way to share the history of potatoes in the early days of harvesting in the Yakima Valley. In White Swan, the 4th annual Heritage College Polo Tournament, the money raised will go to Heritage College in Toppenish. Players and fans travel from around the world and nearby to watch and to play. And for one man traveling from the west side of the state for the tournament, this is a great place to play polo.
Cheryl Zendry, who's going screaming down, decides to cut it in toward goal. Looks like
I've been to a lot of polo games and tournaments, and I have to say that I am very, very much impressed with the community involvement you've got here at this polo tournament. It takes a heck of a lot of work.
Peterson has played polo for about 15 years, just as a hobby, though. 8 polo teams in all from the Northwest, Canada, and even a player from New Zealand. They're all competing. The polo tournament will continue tomorrow, and if you can afford it, tickets run $45 a day. In Northwest business news, there's going to be a showdown over the future of the Wild West. Environmentalists are trying to protect public lands from cattle grazing, but ranchers say that could put them out of business. Victoria Fung reports on the battle in eastern Oregon.
Cattle like these roam more than 300 million acres of public land, each grazing for a fee of nearly $2 a month. But an environmental movement to more than quadruple that fee has many ranchers worried about survival.
The raise that's presently proposed will certainly put most public land ranchers out of business. And that's the intent of the bill.
This is absolutely useless right now. I mean, there's just cow piles everywhere, in the water, around it. The area's all being broken down.
Conservationist Tim Lilleboe says cattle trample the land and compete with wildlife for forage. Environmentalists say the public grazing fee, a quarter of the average private fee, is nothing more than a subsidy. It is also undisputed that hundreds of ranchers sublease their allotments, sometimes making up to 6 times what they paid the government for grazing rights. Critics charge it is profiteering at the expense of the American people.
There are certain lifestyles that we should not tolerate in this country and we cannot afford. And welfare ranching on the public lands is one of them.
Ranchers say it's no bargain when they have to build fences and supply water to poor quality land.
There are people in America who would like to eliminate all livestock from public lands and eliminate the harvest of timber from all public lands. That's the way we make a living in the West.
The Bureau of Land Management admits there have been past abuses, but shows how carefully controlled grazing can actually be used to improve the land. Even so, public lands grazing costs the federal government at least 3 times what it receives in fees. A rate hike appears inevitable. In the Malheur National Forest, this is Victoria Fung reporting.
Up next, the weekend weather after a look at this day in history.
It's here, introducing 4.8% financing on Ford Ranger pickups. That's 4.8% financing for 48 months on the Ranger 4x2 and 4x4. 4.8% financing on all 1991 Rangers, even the STX and the Super Cab. 4.8% financing that can save you more than $1,500 only on the Ford Ranger. This offer is available only until September 25th and only at your Northwest Ford dealer.
Who would think to take 3 strips of sizzling bacon and a slice of Swiss and put them on a 1/4 pound of fresh beef? Who would use the freshest toppings and add a special sauce? And who would serve it all up on a toasted Kaiser bun and call it a bacon Swiss burger?
Me, Wendy's dad. That's who.
Come in and try the bacon Swiss burger, only at Wendy's.
Here's looking at you, Cupcake.
Stephanie. 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 Stephanie.
I've never had a pimple in my life. Nothing, Steph.
better than a perky blonde on the skin. Happiness always.
On Newhart.
You'll be seeing me.
Newhart.
That's the one.
Saturday on channels 35 and 42.
The cooler temperatures will continue. Let's take a look at currents right now in Yakima. 71 degrees with clear skies. In the Tri-Cities, 73 degrees and clear skies. In Walla Walla, clear at 70 degrees. And in Pendleton, 67 degrees and clear. The forecast in Yakima tonight, a chance of frost, low temperatures in the mid-30s. Tomorrow, sunny with high temperature in the low to mid-70s. In the Tri-Cities tonight, a chance of frost, low temperatures in the upper 30s to low 40s. Tomorrow, sunny in the Tri-Cities with a high temperature in the low to mid-70s. In Walla Walla tonight, there is a frost warning, fair and cool during the night, low temperature mid-30s to low 40s. Tomorrow, mostly sunny with a high temperature in the mid-70s. And in Pendleton tonight, there is a frost warning, fair and cool through the night, low temperature 30 to 40 degrees. Tomorrow, sunny with a high temperature 70 to 75 degrees. That's a look at the weather. And Jeff is here for a look at the hot action.
Hot action. A lot of people out there, over 160 cars out at the Yakima Speedway. We are going to take you there, but we're not going to forget about the Cougars and all the rest of the football going on. A lot of sports to do. Come on back. It's next.
The luckiest man in America. He escaped cannibalistic killer Jeffrey Dahmer.
He was sitting there telling me how he was going to eat my heart.
Now it can be told, second by second, relive his night of horror.
I knew then it was like good against evil then, you know. I was dealing like with the devil himself.
Exclusive, Tracy Edwards, the one who got away. Plus, photos of Marilyn Monroe never seen before. Now it can be told.
The style of the Southwest right here in the Tri-Cities. Desert Deco carries contemporary Southwest home decor exclusively. Give your home a new look with items from artificial cactus to Southwest-style furniture. Everything you need is at Desert Deco, where the Southwest meets the Northwest, on the Edison side of Marineland Village. We're open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 6, and now Sundays, 12 to 5. Stop in today.
In the 1960s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, government officials and ecologists warned us to conserve fuel, to share rides, reduce the consumption of fossil fuels. We didn't listen. In 2025, the price of a gallon of gas is out of sight. No one can afford to drive, all because we didn't listen. In 2025, the only thing you can do with your car is take it for a walk. Ben Franklin Transit. Ride the bus, carpool, van pool.
Washington State Cougars knew they were up against their toughest test of the young season, looking for their first win at Columbus against number 16 Ohio State. But when you get behind early on the road and you don't give your quarterback time to throw the football, the results, they're fairly predictable. Let's go out to Columbus, Ohio. It was a beautiful day in Ohio, and it was even more beautiful if you were a fan of the guys in red. Here early, the Buckeyes take advantage of some lackadaisical Cougar defense, and they get up early. The Cougars would try to mount a comeback. Drew Bledsoe will go back to throw. This is going to be a touchdown, but it's going to be a touchdown the other way. He's picked off by Roger Harper. Harper gallops 42 yards for the 6, and the Buckeyes are up early and big. Carlos Snow is the big gun on the ground for the Buckeyes tonight, 97 yards, including this 1-yard touchdown dive. People are happy there. Bledsoe had no time. Here he's getting flushed out of the pocket, gets out of bounds, and watch the hit and watch the punishment this guy has taken. It was that kind of day for Drew Bledsoe. Sacked 9 times today. He did throw for 287 yards. Jason Hansen, a 52-yard field goal, breaks the NCAA record for field goals over 50 yards, but the Cougars get trounced 33-19. The biggest game of the day is yet to be played. The 4th-ranked Washington Huskies will be in Lincoln to take on the 9th-ranked Nebraska Cornhuskers. You can see that game right here following the Weekend Report. Top-ranked NAIA team in the country, the Central Washington Wildcats, open their season in grand fashion today in Klamath Falls, Oregon, against Oregon Tech. Final score that just came in, the Cats were big winners by a count of 43-7. Kenny Thompson was the big man on the ground for the Cats with 119 yards. Kenny Stradley threw for 361 yards and a couple touchdowns. Next week, the Cats will be on the road again at Western Oregon. Back to the top 25 and back to the top 10. The USC Trojans were home today for the Arizona State Sun Devils, and who can figure out the USC Trojans. How can they lose to Memphis State, come back and beat Penn State, and then have Arizona State pretty much manhandle them? That's Eric Gulliver with the touchdown catch for Arizona State. The two-point conversion made it 8-3 Sun Devils. Then 11-3 Arizona State. George Montgomery would get loose. 44 yards on the draw play. He is gone. 18-3 Arizona State. In fact, it got so bad, SC had to change quarterbacks. Curtis Conway in for Reggie Perry. He'll score on the keeper, but it was not enough. USC gets beat at home 32-25. The Trojans are 1-2. In South Bend, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish were trying to bounce back from a loss to Michigan by hosting Michigan State today. And Michigan State was more good medicine for the Irish than Michigan was. This is Reggie Brooks from 2 yards out on the option. He will find pay dirt, and the Irish are up early. Then in more spectacular, more maybe aesthetic fashion for Lou Holtz, Rick Meyer goes back to throw, and he is going to throw deep. 55 yards. In fact, he will find Terry Brown for the touchdown. The Irish go on to roll 45-10. Here's how the top 25 teams fared today. The top 3 teams were idle, kind of an odd day. Mississippi State gets beat by number 6 Tennessee. Utah State, not enough for Oklahoma. Notre Dame was a winner. There's Clemson and Notre Dame as winners, like we told you. Brigham Young and Penn State will play tonight, as will Auburn and Texas. Missouri and Baylor will do it under the lights. Tulsa, the upset of the day, a 35-34 shocker against A&M. There's the Ohio State-Washington State score. Colorado rolls over Minnesota. Illinois does the same, or Houston does the same over, Illinois does the same to Houston. Arizona State got by SC, and there's the other 2 games under the lights tonight. A huge day today out at the Yakima Speedway. Over 160 cars from all over the Northwest and Canada were in town for the Frank's Chevrolet Fall Classic out at the Speedway. Qualifying and heat races, including trophy dashes, the C&B mains, plus a 25-lap super going on today out at the Speedway. In fact, it'll probably be going on till 8 o'clock tonight if you want to get out there. And it's a 2-day event. It'll go on tomorrow. Also out there, the 50-lap street stock main event will happen tomorrow, as well as a 75-lap super stock main and the Frank Chevrolet Fall Classic 125-lap main event. All that going on a big weekend out at the Yakima Speedway. All of a sudden, the National League West isn't the only good race in the major leagues. The AL East is just as tight. Toronto Blue Jays lost again today. The Boston Red Sox had a chance to move within a half game of the Jays. We take you to Fenway Park. Jack Clark, he's used to pennant races, he's used to big home runs, and he hits another one here, goes the opposite way against the Yankees. It's 3-1 Boston at this point. They're not just doing it with the power either. Fans, can you believe this team was out 11.5 games just August 7th? That's Jody Reed with a 2-run single, making it 5-1. That's right, in just over a month. Boston has made up 11 games. They go on to roll today by a score of 12-1. The Sox, they're just a half game back in the East. United States Olympic basketball team will have a different look when they go to Barcelona next year. They will be professionals, or at least 10 of them will be. That team was announced today, and it is a dream team. Taking a look at that, look at the names: Johnson, Jordan, John Stockton, Larry Bird, and Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, Scottie Pippen, Chris Mullin, Patrick Ewing, and David Robinson. You think Puerto Rico is going to come up and beat a team like that? I'm not quite sure. In Davis Cup action today, the United States is going to have to wait until tomorrow if they're going to get rid of Germany. They took a 2-0 lead into today's matches in the best of 5, and it was doubles time. We take you out to Kansas City, Missouri. David Pate and Scott Davis for the Americans up against Michael Steek and Eric Yalen for the Germans. The Germans would go on to win in straight sets, 7-6, 6-4, 6-4. The United States now has a 2-1 lead in the best of 5. Either Andre Agassi or Jim Courier has to win tomorrow, and if one of them does win, they'll advance to play France in the finals of the Davis Cup.
But not at Fenway Park.
No, it won't be Fenway Park.
You had to be authentic. Thanks a lot, Jeff. Still to come, all those hours of practice are paying off for some Eastern Washington residents. They're leapfrogging or leap-dogging for Frisbees.
Al Bundy shows you how to protect your home from dangerous intruders.
What happened out there?
I just shot Stephen Marcy's dog.
The war on crime begins at home.
But that dog was anything but innocent. I mean, he bit you, he ate a cat. I mean, given enough time, he'd have robbed the bank.
On the next Married with Children.
1991 is over. If it's a 91 model RCA, Hermiston Fine Furniture wants it sold. Now, cheap. TVs, VCRs, stereos, and camcorders. Every 91 RCA is priced to sell. They're priced so low, RCA has asked Hermiston Fine Furniture not to advertise the actual prices. So if you want to save money on a new TV, VCR, stereo, or camcorder, Hermiston Fine Furniture's 91 model closeout is the place to be. Hermiston Fine Furniture, Main Highway, Hermiston.
It's now. It's happening. Over 125 new 1991 Chevrolets and Geos. But Curly Chevrolet must sell every 91 model by September 25th. Suburbans, Luminous, Camaros, pickups, Storms, even Corvette can't escape this clearance. Prices cannot go lower. This is the rock-bottom sales event of the model year. 125 new 1991 Chevrolets and Geos. Each price slashed to meet our September 25th sales deadline. McCurley Chevrolet's 91 closeout. It's happening now.
Finally tonight, it was all paws and jaws at Chesterley Park in Yakima today in a first-of-its-kind doggy disc competition. Here's a look at the action. In this basic level round, pet owners have 60 seconds to bring Fido and Frisbee together. The judges say they look for leaping ability, showmanship, and execution. Some dogs are easily distracted, like this young pair that you see here. The 3-year-old boy and his 5-month-old pup never did get the show off the ground. Others managed to put the canine catapult to work.
We just played Frisbee. Me and the buddies got a puppy, and he learned to catch, took right off to it. It was natural for him.
Next came the big time, the free flight competition with a demonstration by Stan Sellers and his dog Zulu. Dog knows how to move.
Those may be the best athletes we had on the show tonight.
Dream team. We'll see you tonight at 11.
We're gonna make you smile and get rid of your blues and do the Monday night football boogie for you.
This year, don't walk, drive a Yamaha and experience luxury, style, quality, comfort, reliability, performance. This year, drive the best. Drive a Yamaha, with 6 models now available exclusively at Northwest Golf Cars in Kennewick.
KVEW TV, Channel 42, Kennewick.